The Ponce de Leon Center was really created in the early 90s. Prior to 1993, the HIV clinic was located in the basement of Grady Memorial Hospital, and it was a very dingy, dismal place, as most basements are. And so people who already had no hope were coming to a place that did not really give people hope. And so the community came together. There was a building on Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta that was a church headquarters that they had vacated and moved to a different location. And they sold that building to Grady Health Systems for $1. And then Grady and the Fulton and DeKalb counties issued bonds to actually refurbish and build out the Ponce Center. When the Ponce Center was envisioned, there was actually some opposition to having an HIV clinic in Midtown Atlanta. And so community activists actually came into the vacant building and occupied it and put signs on it saying, give us a place that we can have hope, that we can get treatment. So that really motivated Grady and the counties to really come together and find the funding to actually build the Ponce Center in the vacated space. So in 1993, when it was opened, it was one of the most innovative HIV clinics in the United States. It had full-time dental care, mental health care, medical care, pediatrics were on site, and not often some children's hospital somewhere. We had psychiatrists, we had chemotherapy for HIV-associated cancers. We also had housing assistance, a food pantry, transportation, all these things that were really necessary to get people who were then very, very ill into the clinic, treated, get them, whatever we needed to try and keep them healthy for as long as possible. And it was also a very bright, colorful, cheerful building. Art galleries around Atlanta donated artworks. The Women's Garden Club donated artwork and furniture for our HIV ward in the hospital. I mean, there was a coming together of the community to really try and provide an environment where people felt like people were caring about them and caring about the fact that they were suffering from AIDS. And the Ponce Clinic was all part of that. The other thing that made the Ponce Clinic unique is that the epidemic in Atlanta had become so severe that it could only handle a certain number of patients. And there were a lot of people being diagnosed with early stage HIV. So the Planning Commission for Atlanta, for the Ryan White Care Act specifically, set up multiple clinics around the city, and they would only funnel the sickest of the sick into the Ponce Clinic. And it was the only clinic that I'm aware of in the United States that would only take people who were incredibly sick. Most other clinics took a mixture of patients, but at the Ponce Clinic we only took people who needed all those specialty services. And so that was one thing that made it very unique. We started doing a lot of clinical trials. We became part of the AIDS Clinical Trials Group, which is an NIH-funded research group that was testing breakthrough therapies. In '93, the only treatments we had were zidovudine and another drug called didanosine. By 1996, as I mentioned, we had 3TC, we were testing protease inhibitors, and round after round after round, we were testing new treatments, new modalities to treat HIV. And that all happened very, very quickly in retrospect. But at the time, it couldn't happen fast enough. We were still seeing people die of their HIV up until around 1997. And these were people who were taking all of their medications. So the Ponce Center quickly became a hub for testing and treating new treatments here in Atlanta in a very short period of time between 1993 and 1996. And then after that, we continued to be a premier clinical trials site for testing new treatments for HIV.